even if it means 5 minutes of meditation. It's not about the time.
Yeah, that's not an excuse.
It's about the quality. I'd prefer you sit 5 minutes truly silent than 5 hours and your mind is a neurotic, nervous creature. Right? Amount of time, really, only thing that the amount of time does is it creates open space. It creates open space where things are more likely to happen. Do you get my meaning?
Yeah.
So the more time you invest into something, the more likely certain side effects will be experienced. It just increases the probability. So, for example, if you were studying nothing else except science from morning to evening, the chances of you understanding, let's say, quantum physics within 1 year are greatly improved, right? Many of these people, which people are thinking of as geniuses, like Albert Einstein, one thing that they tend to overlook is that a mind like Einstein, his whole life is devoted to science. From morning to evening, his whole energy is absorbed into that. If you were investing the same amount of energy, the same amount of focus, the same kind of intensity, maybe you will unfold levels of genius within you which you never thought even existed. He just had the luxury of two things: time and intense involvement. And even the structure of the brain changes. If you took the brain of somebody like, and they have, the brain of Einstein was kidnapped.
No, I didn't.
After his death?
No.
Yeah, it was stolen from the laboratory, and somebody just kept it in a jar somewhere for several years until it was reclaimed.
That was reclaimed.
And many people were interested in studying the brain of Einstein to understand a little bit more about how does his mind work. And they find the structure of his brain has specific features, specific characteristics. And the reason was because of just the kind of experiences that he's had. I think I gave you the example of the London taxi drivers who were studied.
I don't think so.
In London, I think I may have told you, if you visited London, the streets are very complicated. So to be certified to be a London taxi driver, you have to study 4 years.
4 years.
Very intense grinding training. They call it the test. So you have to really get yourself up to speed to pass this test. Not just theoretically memorizing every route and street in the city, but also you have to show that you know it driving down the streets. So scientists have studied the brains of these drivers. What they found was the hippocampus of the brain. This is an area of the brain which is more responsible for memory, analysis, your ability to move through space. This area of the brain was much more developed and larger than the average person, just through the experience. The kinds of experiences you have literally sculpt the brain, like an artist making a sculpture. Nature sculpts the brain according to the kind of experiences that you had. So a mind like Einstein, he just invested a lot of time and energy into that kind of exploration. And of course, there are some people who are born with natural genius, natural talent. They didn't make much effort to develop it. But even that has to be nurtured. It has to be given open room to express itself. And if you're just letting it function without development, still you will not be really fulfilling your full potential. Right? So even for somebody who's born, like let's say a prodigy, it only means he has certain tendencies that are available. What you do with those tendencies is something quite different. So in my understanding, everybody can be a potential genius. There are centers in the brain which are responsible for this thing which we call genius and creativity. Only question is, do you have the kind of experiences to help develop them?